This episode of Speakers of Feidlin is made possible by our generous patrons, like Omage Cat Colnet, Saray Cypher, Hans Grenade, Anakin Therese, Bob Cece, Faris Gentoru, Cletus Oreo, Luke Leonatrell, Sapa Chakwatol, Courtney, Circa Barakeel, Casey Schaefer, Lily Black, Chaitan, Chersha Soltiri, Erisu Yamakawa, Sisirafu Lilirafu, Daimos, Nina Grimsdaughter, Asuta Starbreeze, Quick Levin, Sayori Snowfall, Yuana Nitsa, Miscellaneous Cargo, Duke Jarlsberg, Stella Bell, Yernthoda Aurora, Boogie Bear, Remy Asalia, Ceres, Icy Lee, Lyria Rain, CNG Lipscomb, Dalamud Popoto, Kaisa Regina, Pamela Isley, Umbrelwind, Face on Masher, and Naive Arino. Support the show and become a patron today at patreon.com/speakersxiv. Thank you.
This is Speakers of Feidlin.
Good evening, your students. Welcome to Speakers of Feidlin, episode 163. I'm Lukiel Bravestone, and I'm joined today by Georgi, Whiston, and Malavanadar. Where
Hello.
is Rollo?
Where's Rollo? If anyone's seen him,
Has anyone seen Rollo? Let us know. No.
Excellent question.
We've got posters out.
Yeah. Rollo is still in a mess, so he will be here tomorrow for minimum eye level.
Like the last bit of his movie and stuff today, I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm assuming, we're assuming that he'll be here next week. Hopefully, sticking around again like before.
Yeah.
Anyways, welcome.
Pray for Rollo.
Pray for Rollo. We will soldier on without him for this episode. In this episode 163, we will be discussing what's next in the story with Graha Tia and the Scions. That's our main story. There hasn't been a lot happening this week, but there is some news. For instance, the Moogle Treasure Trove returns with a hunt for mythology this time, so we'll discuss that. And we will be reading MogMail. MogMail. Right, post-show, stay tuned for that. There's something that I will not say now, I almost said it, we're saving that for the end. But we will also quickly look through Remnants of a Realm Alag and discuss that, and read some comments from the YouTube video. And ladies and gentlemen, we have an edited minimum eye level episode, Titan Extreme.
Woo!
Part 1.
The greatest video series is back.
Yes.
Which we will look at in the post show at the end today. So make sure you catch that. Channel updates. I've released quite an extensive list of stuff that's changing or what's going to happen with the channel going forward on Patreon. I'm not going to go through all of it here because it's a lot. But there's some stuff pertaining to the post show specifically that we've probably should talk about. We're adding a new segment, which we've now called Questions from the Syndicate. And it's basically a channel on the Discord that unlocks every Sunday and locks every Friday during the period when it's open. Senior Master and Supreme Speakers can post questions, ideas, topics, whatever they want us to discuss during the post-show. And then on the post-show the following week, we will read that, and then that will be sort of like it's like an extended MogMail. It's like more of a MogMail that has more. What we choose is basically the topic of that post show for the most part.
It's a MogMail that's not just about 14.
Right.
Yeah, and it gives us steady content for the post show.
Yes.
Yes.
So
Premium MogMail. That's a good one.
Yeah, premium MogMail.
In addition to that, there's Gillionaire will return soon. And when it does...
Whoa, hang on. Whoa there.
Okay, did I not mention this?
No.
Well, it will return soon. But we're also, with Gillionaire, we will be introducing a Patreon champion system, which is where the contestants will have one patron selected, and then they will fight for them. So there will be a prize for the episode, and the contestant that wins will win that item for their patron.
Yeah.
So that's
a lot of people are going to start hating me then.
Well, you can't pick. There will be like a wheel or something. I don't know. We don't quite know how to solve that. It'll be randomized which patron that's selected. So yeah, we'll start off with Mog Station items, but in the future might be Speakers merch and maybe some Square Enix merch. We'll see. Right. Is there anything else? Oh yeah, we should talk about. Just quickly mention the source stuff because we've talked about it on the podcast before. So there is, and it's gonna happen. But the story thing is now. I've decided it is detaching from SoR, so it's not gonna be part of SoR anymore. It's gonna be its own thing. Working title is just SoR Stories, but it's gonna change to a more appropriate title. My target is to at least have something to show for the 5-year anniversary, but it might not be done by then. But we might have something. And the idea, I want like stuff to be voiced. It's a big project, probably the biggest project we've ever had on this channel.
Like a teaser.
Yeah, like an actual teaser.
Like the one that was in April. Like that, except with voices.
Yes. And there's a lot of stuff that needs to be done, like rewrites. Because right now, SoR has like 5 different scripts, and none of them fit together because they're all changed. So it all has to be, all the lore from that has to be condensed down into one. There's a lot. Georgi and Mela. Once you get to see all the stuff that exists, you'll understand why this was put on hold, because it's an absolute mess. But yeah, hopefully we'll have something by December. Right, and there's a lot more about all the other shows as well, but that's basically everything is continuing. SoR, the regular SoR, is coming to an end with the next episode. But I don't have a date for that episode yet. That will be like the end of the regular Secrets of a Realm. But I also want to make some episodes about future, like A Realm Reborn assets that's been left unused, because there's a lot of that too. But season 1 of SoR will end soon, I guess. That's the only show that's sort of going out of rotation. The rest of the shows are okay and will continue for a little longer. Well, there's Fall and Rise as well. There's a lot more. I can't go through all this. We'll spend the whole episode of me going through all the changes. If there's any important stuff that's coming up, we'll let you know on the podcast eventually. Okay, let's move on. What have we done in 14 this week? Who wants to start? Rollo. No.
Wow, that was brave.
Wow. Rollo.
Okay, well, we'll be here a while. Go on, Rollo.
Georgi.
What did you do? Okay.
Go on.
Most of what I've done is what I've done with these two, which is we made some progress on raiding. We were able to have 2 days of raiding this week, which we haven't had, and we were actually able to do E2S, which we haven't done for like a month at this point because of various people not being able to attend.
Yeah.
So in E2S, we actually did make some good progress. We got to the soft enrage part of the fight, and hopefully we'll be able to clear that in the next week or so. We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, that's more or less all I have done this week, too. Yeah. I don't think I've done much else. No, because all of it has been on Hangouts, so you've more or less seen that. Ella, have you done anything worth mentioning?
I've briefly continued my Stormblood side quest adventures. I've finished Crick, or whatever that place is called.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So I've gone to Suino Sato. I'll finish that, and I'll try and finish with the Ruby Sea soon. But I've obviously been engaged pretty much every evening with you.
Right.
So not had as much time, but you know.
Have any of the side stories stuck with you?
The only interesting one I did this week was in Crick. There's a woman who the Confederates. There's two people in the Confederates, and the woman's parents were killed, and it transpires that the man she's working with was part of the group of pirates or whatever they were, who had done the raid that killed her parents, and so she wanted to kill him. But they all had Japanese names, so I can't really remember them off the top of my head.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, and then it was beautiful because she was about to shoot him with an arrow, and I went over and went, "The past is in the past," and she went, "Oh yeah, you're right." And just didn't stop. So it was very abrupt change in heart, but it was nice. I guess it was one of those nice moments.
Okay.
But yeah, everything else has just been like, go and kill 8 pigs.
Nice. Okay. That's it for introductions and stuff. Let's move on to recent events. Oh, I think I did it. Welcome to recent events. No, we don't say welcome. In recent events this week, biggest news: Moogle Treasure Trove, the hunt for mythology. It's here. It's basically the same as before, but different ways of getting it now, and probably easier to get.
Yeah, for sure.
Better and it's shorter.
Yes. The two new exclusive items, from what I can tell, is the dog earrings.
Mama Shiba.
And what just looks like glorified magic prisms, but there's 3 stars.
You get 10 of them.
Wow.
For 1 tome.
Can we just point out something? Because Jürgen, I realized this, but we are moving more and more towards just like graphical explanations of what's happening instead of text. It's just picture. You do this and then that and then that, and then I have to show you this.
Oh, it's a nice presentation though.
Challenge the object. Oh, it's too bright. It's basically. Sorry, my lights are making. This is a show.
I thought you were going to show them on screen.
I'm not going to show them. No. I went for the woolhead method. Right. Anyways, it's just, I think it's a little. You don't need to show that.
Oh, it's fine. It's nice presentation, even if it is like babified.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I'm
it
gonna
starts.
say this.
Yes.
It's too soon for another one of these. It's too soon.
Will they keep just doing these at the end of every patch cycle?
I think this is what they're gonna do.
They may do.
I think that's what they're gonna do. Yeah.
I
to
can't
make
wait.
the drought less bad.
Moogle Treasure Trove, the hunt for Goetia will have a very dark tone to it. Because Goetia is just like a sorted entrail.
Right. It starts Monday, September 30th, and lasts until the launch of patch 5.1. Please note that the event may be suspended without warning, and the event will conclude when the maintenance for patch 5.1 begins.
Mm-hmm.
Still too low.
Now, they've increased the tome yield for everything, thankfully. So the Praetorium now gives 10 tomes. So if you are inclined to do the Praetorium, you'll only need to do the Praetorium 10 times if you want the new earrings. Castor Meridianum gives 7. And all the old dungeons and 24-man raids they used to have, instead of giving 2 or 1, now give 3. But in addition to that, now they also have included Frontlines and Rival Wings, which give 5 each.
Right.
Which is relatively efficient, because none of these modes can last longer than 20 minutes.
That's how I'll be doing it, in a vain attempt to finish off some Garo stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm happy with how it's turned out this time compared to last time.
Yes,
Yeah.
this seems much more manageable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
The Falcon ignition key is also available this event. So for those people that weren't subbed during the period when they were giving out the Falcon, you can now buy it for 50 terms.
Yeah. Which, although I'm a little bitter about, surely this should open up the opportunity to get the exclusive PvP mounts at some point, surely, because otherwise, it's a bit of a double standard. So thank you, Square.
At least give us the mounts from like the first couple of seasons.
Yeah, because no one can get them now, ever.
And there's a high possibility a lot of those people don't even play anymore, so you can't even see them.
Yeah. Is the icon for the tombstones updated? Is that a new icon? I don't really know.
It is a new icon because it is the tombstone of mythology.
Yeah, it's got
so
two
they'll
blue
follow
ones.
the proper tombstone. That's cool.
Yeah. Again, the Moogles, the itinerant Moogles, they never moved.
No.
So they're still where they were originally.
They're still there. If you still have tombstones of philosophy, you can still trade them in for the rewards from the last event.
Yeah. So.
And you probably should do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because those rewards will go away at the end of when 5.1 launches.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Let's move on. A very strange announcement from Square Enix, but whatever. We're pleased to announce a return to Game City Vienna. And this is a good line. The biggest trade show for computer games in Austria. Visit our booth for fun and challenging activities, awesome goodies, and the Final Fantasy XIV Starter Edition for free. Experienced adventurers should prepare for battle against Titania and Innocence for a chance to receive exclusive I Beat t-shirts. Newcomers are urged to visit the Sprout Corner to create their own character and explore Eorzea with the help of our community ambassadors. We're also excited to host our first fan gathering in Vienna on the evening of October 19. Veterans and new adventurers are welcome to join. That takes place on October 18th, Friday, and lasts until Sunday, October 20th, in the Vienna Town Hall.
Oh, in Rathausplatz.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah. What a strange venue. In
the town hall in Vienna. Surely that's pretty exclusive venue. That's pretty.
Yeah.
Remember, this is the biggest. This is the biggest trade show for computer games in Austria.
That's true.
Don't undersell that.
That's true.
Yeah.
So it's basically the same stuff that we've seen from other events. There's the battle challenge. There's Titania, where you fight Titania.
Or Innocence.
Yeah, you like roulette, don't you?
Yeah, and there's a Sprout Corner where you can get the free PC Starter Edition. Oh, and a special edition Final Fantasy XIV magazine.
That's pretty
what?
cool.
That's exclusive.
What magazine?
Don't
It's
know.
a special edition one.
But what is it a special edition of?
Well, the only magazine I know that they make is the Glamour one every year.
Yeah?
That
So maybe
implies
it's
there's a regular edition.
That's true. Oh, I don't know. Maybe
Someone's
it's just that
headed over there. Please report back and tell us what kind of magazine you got. And then there's the fan gathering, which is probably going to be... We should have read that one guy's retelling of his experience where was it? In Germany?
I think it was in Germany, yeah.
Yeah.
That was
so.
a proper disaster. That was a fun read. Right. Anyways, hopefully that'll go a little better in Vienna. Next, Memoirs of Adventure, which is a creative writing contest that Square Enix announced a month ago? Has it been that long? No, surely just a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was a month ago.
Really? Wow. The winners have been selected. We're not going to read any of it, but it has happened, and it's worth mentioning.
happened, and it's worth mentioning. There were 50 people selected to win and receive the prizes. So
No further
congratulations.
comments. No further
No
comments.
further comments.
If you want to read them, they are on the official forums.
Yeah.
They are linked within the Lodestone post.
Yes.
But
So
only on the US Lodestone.
Yes.
this was a
only.
contest.
It's US only.
Yes.
Yeah.
Only on the
check
US
'em out.
Lodestone. The US Lodestone is available to anyone.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's true. But
Why did you phrase it that way?
we use the EU one, Georgi.
Yeah.
We wouldn't see it on
Yeah,
our.
I know.
So we want to see it. A lot of
Lodestone.
people. Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
Because
Sorry.
the post isn't there, so you can't just link to it on that.
Okay. So, with that, I think that's it for recent events. It's time to jump into the great discussion, and let's hope
Yay!
the intro isn't going to blow our eardrums off. All right. Welcome to the great discussion. When we last had a great discussion, we talked about... It's basically a continuation of the previous discussion, but now we're moving on to... Last time we talked about... What did we talk about last time?
Elidibus?
Elidibus, right. So
Yeah, moon
Yes.
stuff.
yeah, the moon.
Elidibus and the Scions.
Yeah. The next sort of point that we need to discuss is Graha and the Scions, sort of the main characters in the story, except for us, of course. We're the most important character. But let's talk about Graha, because Graha is interesting, or the Crystal Exarch, whatever you want to call him. What's going to happen to Graha now? And when we ask that question, we have to because we've talked about this time travel shit. What his role is fulfilled. He's done his job. He's done what he was supposed to do. Now what?
Yeah.
Well,
What a question.
I suspect he'll still be trying to get the Scions back to the source. I don't know necessarily what's going to happen to him, because I don't really know what will become of the First in general once we move back to the source.
Right. Yeah.
That's
Because
true.
they're in a bad place already, because most of their land is gone. And
I mean,
the Senators are gone, though.
yeah,
So there's that.
Yeah.
we are attempting to bring back their land in the Eden raid, so maybe we'll leave their planet.
Yeah.
I would guess
Shard,
because in the
you could
Eden
say.
raid, it sort of implies that once we've done our bit, it will slowly spread out.
Yes.
So I guess we'll leave their world in a state of currently being sort of reborn. But in terms of Graha, he's not necessary anymore to that world.
No.
So he may have a beautiful farewell and fizzle out.
Yeah, because he's kind of fucked up, because the Crystal Tower, he's sort of fused with the Crystal Tower, which is why
Yes.
he's becoming crystallized.
He
The
needs to stay within close proximity to it, otherwise he starts to lose.
Sweat.
Yeah. What?
What?
He lose sweat?
No, he starts to sweat. He gets all lightheaded and stuff, doesn't he?
Oh yeah.
I
that's
mean,
right, yeah.
okay, yeah, he starts.
I wouldn't have thought
I was
of that
going
as
to-
sweating, but okay.
I thought, yeah,
Not the
I was
sweat.
gonna say he's not the sweat. I was thinking he's just gonna I was just gonna say he loses energy.
Yeah.
Well,
He's drained.
Yeah, he gets drained.
So, he could also just be always there, because as long as the Crystal Tower stands, he'll be alive. The Crystal Tower he's basically the Crystal Tower. Yeah. So, or will he become more crystallized, more crusty? How does this work?
I
Yeah,
think-
that's a good question.
I think that it just was during his attempts to transport us across that he was sort of turning like that. It seems like it stopped.
Yeah, it kind of does. He's not giving us any... But remember, it's been 100 years. So this
That's also true.
possibly happened gradually.
But then it's not going to happen suddenly so quickly that he turns into a statue.
Remember, we do have the wibbly wobbly time stream thing going.
Oh, that's true. It
which
could
means
go
that while
fast.
we're on the source, suddenly time has accelerated really quickly, and he's just there as a fucking statue as we come back in.
That would be sad.
Yeah. That would be a sad way to kill him, though.
Hmm.
But when would that happen? Because I don't think they'd want to do that while the Scions are still on that.
Oh yeah,
because
otherwise
they'll be affected by it as well.
That's true.
No, it'll just be in like 6.3. There'll be a random. Meanwhile, on the first,
Yeah,
and he'll be there, and then it'll go back.
Just a shot of Graha like frozen.
Yeah, they're never gonna do that because then every NPC would have to be dead.
Yeah, that's true.
They'd have to completely
Oh, yeah.
remake every NPC on the first.
That's true. Yeah. The other question with Graha is, of course, whether or not we are going to wake up the Graha on the source, which is still the same Graha, but it's just younger Graha.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
And what would that do to the present Graha? Because the first Graha, because the first Graha technically shouldn't exist.
Well, no.
Yes,
the
no,
first
that's true.
Graha is the current Graha, just in the future.
and if we wake up Graha, then the events that followed after our death to Black Rose he would not have been in the Crystal Tower, and thus could not have traveled to the first. A lot of paradoxes.
Yeah, too many.
Well, the first Graha shouldn't even exist at this point because the calamity's not happening supposedly anymore.
You're right.
So it doesn't matter if we wake up Graha. He's already a paradox as to why he's still there.
His timeline is already fucked up. So So that's true. Actually, yeah, he's sort of the Graha on the source should be completely detached, from the first one, because that's the first Graha isn't a thing anymore. Well, I mean,
technically, every expansion we've gained a Scion groupie. Like in Heavenswood, we got Estinian, in Stormblood, we got Heian.
Mm-hmm.
So this time maybe he will wake. I don't think he will though. I feel like it would be so pointless to wake him up. He's already served his purpose. He's supposed to be in slumber.
There has to be a reason for us to wake him, and I feel like right now we don't have a reason to wake him.
I mean, it's possible that they'll make up some sort of reason as to, like, with the existence of Grahas on both shards, that will be a way for us to transfer the Scions back to their bodies. Something like that.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, that would be...
But then if he leaves the first, then the first will be unprotected again, and then the Ascians can just slip on back over and start again.
Well, there's not...
Yeah, but, like, that's not going to be immediate. It took them a long time to get the calamity of light happening.
Plus, it's just Elidibus now, so it's...
Well,
yeah,
there's...
because Emmett Selk was the one that was... Emmett Selk was the one that was working on destabilizing the first.
Yeah. Young Graha might be able to summon Scions back to the source. Yeah, he might be... right. He might be instrumental in that task. Yeah,
possibly.
Because he can control our Crystal Tower, like the first...
Yes.
Sorry, the source's Crystal Tower. So...
And he would... The Graha on the first would be able to provide us with the information to go back to the source and open up the Crystal Tower.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
Yeah.
There's a chance, if he does wake up, though, he's going to be like a Philomene or Hoary Boulder. He's just going to hang about. I don't see him becoming instrumental to the story in the future.
Are you sure?
Well, it depends on where we're
going.
going.
I mean, I'm not sure, but that's what I just feel like...
I think it would be interesting to have... Because the story is obviously going... Well, I say obviously. I actually don't know. It's gonna probably happen both on the source and on the first. And it'd be interesting to have a Graha on the source and a Graha on the first. And they are the same person, but different experience. Like, one is old and probably wiser than the younger Graha on the source. They might be going for that, maybe. Maybe they need to be rejoined.
Maybe.
I don't know.
But young Graha doesn't really have any skills. Like he's not. He's for being like he's more of a knowledge. He's like an Uriansha.
Well, he's got the Allegan
Yeah.
Eye, so
He does have
he
that
does
Allegan Eye.
have
True.
control over the Crystal Tower, which is quite a lot of power. Technically, I don't know if he knows how to
Yeah.
use it yet, though. He didn't back in
That's probably
when
why
we
he's went
locked
to
him
bed.
in. Yeah.
Mm.
He is an archer. That's true. He is an archer, which is weird.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
He's a bard too. He has a good singing voice according to the lore book.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
mm,
Did you know that Thancred was a bard in 1.0? Fun fact.
Yes, well, he's not really a bard. He claims to be a
Yeah,
bard.
he
That was
claims.
part of his disguise.
Yeah.
mm.
Right.
Yeah, it's possible that, like, with the existence of two Grahas, like, maybe we have to. One theory would be we have to wake up the other Graha in order to bring the Scions back. But then once two Grahas exist, the same Graha exists in two different locations. It's possible that, like, time or something starts to distort, and that would lead to us having to, like, bring them together. Because as we've said, this Graha currently on the first shouldn't exist.
No.
Yes, that's true. But the portal between the worlds, basically, technically, when we step into the first, we step 100 years into the future.
True. It's like
Do
a
we?
whole new universe.
Well, yeah. It's been 100 years since the Crystal Tower materialized on the
Yeah.
first.
But I don't know if that's in
But
100
time
years
moves
into the
so.
future.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like
The Crystal Tower in the first
It's so
came up after. So Graha on the source slept for what, like 100 years or whatever, and Black Rose happened,
Yeah.
and then the current state of the first is during that period of time,
Yes.
as far as I'm aware, right?
Yeah, because he. Oh God, it's no wait. Actually, no. So Graha.
I think
Graha materialized the Crystal Tower on the first. Yeah, 100 years ago.
Yeah, 100 years ago, but, like, I don't know.
No.
if
Oh
the
yeah,
time...
right. So the time is still the same. Right. Sorry,
Yeah.
I forgot the ago part. So 100 years ago, the Crystal Tower. Yeah. So we're in sync. Well, in sync.
Yeah. Time between the two shards is, like, weird. There's, like, no...
Yeah.
Until the point in that Shadowbringers begins, they talk about how, like, time was never really connected between the two shards.
Right. Anyway.
Because, like, in the same way that, like, 100 years could have passed on the first, in the blink of an eye on the source, technically that could have also happened where 100 years passed on the source in, like, the space of a day on the first.
Yeah.
Because they were just not in sync at that point.
Right. This part of the story is going to be complicated. I hope they, at least, I hope they don't cheese it. That they actually try to make sense of it.
Yeah.
But I understand if they're not going to go all sciencey, because it's a fantasy world, so the rules might be completely different.
They've done time travel and successfully in the past.
Yeah.
That's what happened with Alexander.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
True. Yeah.
And they even reference Alexander in the twinning.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's how they did the time travel.
Yeah.
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 Him and Omega and the other guy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the Crystal Tower in general.
Yeah.
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 Surely they've got enough background information to make something up that at least will be acceptable.
Yeah, time travel in popular media should at least be something they can look at. That's pretty well established now.
Yeah.
Time travel, so. Yeah, go on.
I mean, the next dungeon in 5.1, I think, is called the Grand Cosmos?
Yes.
Or something like that?
Yeah,
Something like that,
something
yeah.
like Cosmos.
So, I want to say that will help explain this. I just don't see... With a name like that, it surely has to do with, like, the time and interdimensional stuff that's happening.
Yeah.
Wherever it
Well,
happens
some
to
of
be
it
in the
is
world.
space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing is, though, yeah, we talked about this in the last previous episode when we looked at the art. It does have the Eulmore colors. So...
Yeah. It just looked like a house or something,
Yeah.
some corridor.
Yeah, maybe
There's
it's
definitely
like...
a second half.
Yeah, there's definitely a second half.
I mean, yeah. Just because what we've seen is not necessarily all there is to
Exactly.
it. Because remember Hell's Lid, And the whole bit about there being lava.
Yeah.
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 It only lasted about 5 minutes.
There are also just what it doesn't have to be in Eulmore proper. It could be on the islands as well. There are lots of like smaller islands around with buildings on them. By the way, scaling on those, I'm not so sure about that. They look like miniature little, didn't quite work for me. But yeah.
There's also a lot of underground to Eulmore.
That's
Yeah.
true. That's true.
That
But
probably travels throughout the islands.
are there not windows there in that dungeon? I could have sworn
There
there
could
were.
be fake ones.
Oh, there might not have been windows actually. Oh, I can't remember.
There were windows in the antitower, and that was technically underground.
True. It doesn't matter if there's windows. Right. Okay. I hope we learn more about how all of this works, and I'm sure we will. I mean, what else? There's like nothing we have no clear indication of where the story is going, which I've mentioned many times. I like that. That means it's everything's open. So hopefully we'll see more. Yeah.
Do you think the first Graha's timeline still exists somewhere?
I think so.
First, what do you mean?
In my opinion, yeah, there's a source that's destroyed.
Oh, right. Yeah, we talked about this, didn't we, a couple of weeks ago? I think it makes sense that it still exists, but our timeline has been
Looped
corrected.
off, branched
But
off.
are we ever going to like try and? Obviously, we can't really save it, but like, are we ever going to try and interact with it? Because we did receive that message from their timeline, both during the Rising and also at the end of the Twinning dungeon.
That's true.
I feel will they really just like leave us with this depressing like note about their timeline and then that's all?
I think they will, because I think we can't interact with it in the same way as we can interact with shards. I think the shards we can hop between because of this technology. I don't think we can go to a alternate timeline. That would be weird. That would open up too many extra cans of worms.
But Graha might be a key indicator here because he didn't disappear. Does that mean that we actually didn't change? How do we know that we've fixed it? All of the items from that calamity are still present on the first.
Technically, but like some of the catalysts don't exist anymore. Like Varus is dead. So
yes,
that is.
But there's an unknown now with Xenos. Now knowing
he thinks it's cowardly.
Yeah, but he thinks it's a cowardly weapon.
Yeah, so he's not going to use it.
Yes, that's true. But we don't know. Gaius is probably still alive. We don't know what's happening in the Garlean.
Gaius is? Why do you think that? Like,
I'm just saying there are lots of unknowns here now, Georgi, that weren't there before, which means the timeline can be restored to the bad timeline.
There's a possibility.
But it won't be exactly the same.
And we don't know if Varus is dead either, by the way.
No, we don't know if Varus is dead. I agree.
Yeah, they left a lot of stuff up in the air. So
and also,
we just know that Garlemald used black. Well, do we even know? We know that Garlemald used Black Rose. I
believe we even know that Varus used it. No, we don't really know that Varus used it.
The Garleans used Black Rose. So we're not out in the clear yet, I think. But I don't think it'd be weird if the next patches are just going to be a repeat of what we did in Shadowbringers, if you know what I mean. Like, we're still going to try to prevent that calamity. I don't know. It's just the stuff that we've done to prevent the next calamity. That's one thing, but there's also been happening stuff on the source that shouldn't have happened in the original timeline. That might fuck up what we already thought we had done good. It's time travel. Timelines can be restored by random, unforeseen events.
That's possible, but like, ultimately, we're never going to die. They're never going to let us die.
No, we're not going to die.
So in a sense, we already know that timeline can never truly come to be. That's true. Anything else we're doing will be just to prevent it from happening.
Yeah. It's so hard to know if because we might just be discussing something that has actually ended, Like they have decided that was just Shadowbringers, and
Yeah.
in the patch stories, we're gonna grow crops in Eulmore. That's the patch stories. When we're gonna grow a massive farm. But yeah, there is something that we should have talked about. I think we're gonna put that in here as well because we're sort of already on here. We haven't talked about Eulmore, and since we're mentioning the dungeon might happen in Eulmore, I feel like we're actually tilting towards the Eulmore story in the patch that's coming up.
I mean, we have seen that in some of those screenshots. We saw like us interacting with the Chais.
Yeah. And right now it's very Eulmore is quite interesting right now because there is a power vacuum, of course, now that their leader is gone. And how are they gonna? They are how? What's the
who's their guiding hand right now?
Right.
Like what? How is it still working? Like how is it still a functional like capitalist society?
Yeah.
If they decide to go back to having a person in power, I feel like it only really makes sense for
the
Chai
Chais.
to be the leader,
Yeah.
because people are sort of following him right now with our aid.
Yeah.
And when we go, either that he goes in power or they sort of just become a free state kind of thing.
Yeah.
But there were a lot of people in the post Eulmore stuff who were hadn't quite got over the change in mentality and were still like treating it.
I feel like that's the biggest problem with all of the people in Eulmore is that I liked the scene where they're like, oh, we defeated evil, and Alfred was like, you were fucking in on this too, by the way. You were just as bad. And you knew what you were doing. And it's going to be difficult for them because they've lived in paradise, their own paradise, while the rest of the realm fucking deteriorates. So it's going to be difficult for them, I think, to switch over because they need to change their lifestyle now.
And chat brings up a good point. Eulmore is still stratified as fuck. Like there's still the poor people outside and the rich people up top.
That's true. They
true.
need to deal with that.
Yeah.
Did we kill the jesters?
No.
Don't know.
No, I think we just.
It wasn't clear in this.
I think
in the same way, it wasn't clear if we killed Ranjit.
Yeah, I think they survived. They might show up again. I feel like they're like the kind of recurring characters. They're gonna cause some mischief in the story.
Maybe we'll install another democracy, like we did in
we're great at that.
Yeah, we quite
Giovanni.
like that. Yeah. Maybe they'll go for a completely different type kind of
Let's
government.
install an oligarchy.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
Not everyone wants what we want.
That's true.
We're we impose a lot, don't we? Really.
We do.
Dover is like one of the only places where they kept their political structure.
Yeah.
Keeping a king essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chat brings up.
Yeah, go on.
Chat brings up a good point. Will Eulmore, or at least the poorer parts of Eulmore, start to develop as each patch cycle goes through?
That would have been so cool.
I don't.
But
it would be awesome. I don't imagine that, but that would be nice.
Because it's very depressing, Eulmore, right now.
Yes.
Because it's got Gate Town, and it's got the stuff on the bottom of Eulmore.
Yeah.
It would be nice if they cleaned that up. As
nice.
through patches. And I don't think that would be too much of a problem to do. Well, actually, Gate Town might be difficult because you can actually jump on the buildings and stuff. They would have to like create instances.
You can jump on the. You can't actually jump on the buildings in Gate Town. None of them you can actually land on.
Really?
But you can jump on some of the buildings at the bottom of Eulmore.
Ah, well, there you go.
But it could be that kind of thing where what they replace it with uses the exact same modeling but looks better.
Yeah, that's true. They could do that. That's true. They don't have to remove the buildings. Yeah, that's true. I hope they do that though. That would be very neat. Because we still don't have like an area that's similar to the Doman Enclave.
The closest we have is the Empty.
Yeah, in a
yeah,
way.
I guess, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Eulmore reconstruction, yeah. Something like that would be nice. That we're like helping rebuild or make something new around Eulmore now that there's not a crazy. What was Vol 3? What was the government structure of government type?
Well,
in Eulmore?
Autocracy, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, originally his father was like the mayor, I think,
Yeah.
or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it started out as being quite an innocent role,
Yeah.
and then Emmett Selk joined in, and it turned into God Kinghood.
Yeah.
Yeah. So was Eulmore just a city and not a city-state, seeing as he was just mayor? That is an interesting title, because
I
that
imagine it's
Well, yeah,
means he's part of a greater. Well,
Because I don't think that Eulmore had administration over the rest of Calusia. Because they always talk about trade between the other towns and Eulmore, never like we serve Eulmore or whatever.
That's
right,
true.
right. So they might have had like an actual nation, like a different. There's some. I need more lore again.
The old first interests me so much more than the current first.
Yeah. Oh,
I'd love
absolutely.
to explore Verbers and stuff.
Yeah.
And all the old kingdoms.
Yeah. Yeah, they do have a military and stuff as well. That's good. That's a good point. A city wouldn't have its own military, so it seems maybe it's just it is a city-state, but it's more like that's just a title. The mayor is just the title in Eulmore for the leader. Right. Yeah. So what do you think is going to happen? I'm assuming the Chais are going to take charge and help with the restructuring of Eulmore. They have a lot of stuff to do. They have to like get trade going again, because that had stopped completely with Vol 3. And they also have to rebuild. Like they have to get allies back, because they cut all the ties with every other nation in Norvrandt.
Yeah.
So there's that as well.
I mean, that's sort of what the end leading up to the Mount Gulg dungeon is like alluding to, sort of, as like at least a first step before they start making like proper connections, doing actual like trade rather than just working together to build a giant robot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
It'll be easy for them to do it with the Crystarium though, because there'll be they'll just be the noble Crystarium. Oh well, we'll be friends with them and we can start trade. That's just how it's going to be. But some of the smaller nations are probably not going to be as quick to accept them.
Maybe Eulmore will develop a similar system to Ishgard in that there's still the House of Lords, so there's those people that will inherit their roles, and then also the House of Commons.
Yeah, that could be all right.
Yeah.
That could be all right. The people that inherit their positions of power.
The problem I have is that are there other nations that are structured enough to do trade with Eulmore?
Well, it's just the Crystarium.
It's just the Crystarium at this point.
Yeah.
There's nothing left on this stupid planet. There's the Vieira village, which don't really like anyone else. And then there's all the ruins.
Yeah.
Well, the Vieira people said they're going to start opening up if you do all the side quests.
That's true.
Right.
But and maybe the Amaro.
Yeah, the Amara.
Some of the fairy people might like it, but
maybe not the Amara. More so the
Nemo.
The Nemo.
Yeah.
Pixies.
Yeah, the dwarves. The dwarves might start opening up trade again because they closed off trade when Eulmore started getting like.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
Dictatorials.
Yeah.
None of them are exactly Eorzean standard, are they?
I would know. They're not. I mean, this is a very broken world, so I mean, there is a lot of reconstruction work.
Arguably, the two other greatest like modern cities that existed are both destroyed between Vobert and whichever, I can't remember the name of the one that was in Amarang.
Nabatharang or something like that.
Yeah, Nabatharang, that was obliterated by the flood of light.
That place I'd love to explore as well. The two that I most want to explore are the two that are destroyed.
Yeah. Or do you want to explore them because they're destroyed?
Yeah, because that's the thing. Like,
Yeah.
Probably because the world
would you
building
be
was
thinking
so
this
good.
way if Eulmore and Crystarium were the destroyed ones, and then
Yeah.
Vobert and
possible.
Nabatharang were still around?
Yeah.
Probably would.
Yeah.
They made the world feel lived in very well this
Yeah,
time.
they did. Yeah.
It's really good.
Do you ever think we'll see, like we talked about like briefly, like restoring Norvrandt? Do you think that's gonna actually happen? That we will get more areas in the first in the future, or do you think this is gonna be, this is what we'll get?
I think.
Or are
this
we
is what
done
we'll
with
get.
Norvrandt?
I think this is what we're gonna get of Norvrandt.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think they'll just allude to it later on.
Yeah.
But we'll never get to see it.
Yeah. Well, they are. It's pretty clever though, because they now technically have 2 worlds that they can expand in the
That's
future.
true.
So if they run out of shit to expand with and on Hydaelyn, they can just go back to Norvrandt and expand.
I think at this point the most we're likely to get is let's go explore the old ruins of the first Othard.
Yeah.
Except it's
Oh,
a
God.
dungeon now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we'll do.
Yeah.
They're not going to give us a whole zone.
No, they're not.
Unfortunately.
There's no way.
One day maybe.
No. Yeah. Right. So there's definitely going to be, I think 5.1 is going to be a little bit of a political patch. We usually do get that with the 0.1s.
Yeah, it's always
I mean,
after the storm.
Yeah.
Sort of thing.
Yeah, it's always we've gone somewhere, we've caused an uprising in their political system, and now we have to fix it,
Yeah.
or at least
Yeah.
watch other people fix it.
Yeah. So let's talk about Reen then.
Yeah.
I will see, because we're probably never getting Minfilia back.
We're
No.
not. No.
So
I feel like
They've
she's
made such a big event out of the fact that it was going to be her or Reen.
Yeah.
So this is already after we've had so many experiences with like her disappearing or like
gone. Oh, I know.
dissipating, I guess.
Yeah.
So at this point, I really don't think they're going to have them bring back the original Minfilia.
Thank God.
Mm.
So
I think they made Minfilia likable in her last moments.
What would you do if during a random quest line you just heard whoop 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 whoop? The Waking Sands, you feel?
I'll be very upset. I think what's gonna happen to Reen is they're either gonna give her the heroic death, or she's,
Really?
because
Yes.
she has a past. There's stuff linked to Reen that she can, even if she's no longer connected to Minfilia, the world of Norvrandt might not be so ready to let that slip or slide. There's other stuff that might happen with the Eden quest line. There's a lot of stuff, dangers out there for her. So they're either going to do that, or she's going to join us on the source.
No.
That's my.
I can
two
see that
predictions.
happening. I think they've built her up as a character that I think that she could become one of the.
Yeah.
She
That-
could
that
end
was
up
my
somehow getting to the source with us.
Yeah, that was the point I made with the Minfilia. We've lost Minfilia, but we might get Minfilia Light. We might get like a diet Minfilia, if you know what I mean. We can get
Minfilia Zero.
Minfilia Zero.
Plus,
Minfilia Fresh.
she is a trust NPC.
Yeah, but they'll change each expansion to whatever's relevant.
Yeah, that's true. They might do that.
I think
We've
she's
kept
gonna
because we've kept Rain, whereas we didn't keep the Crystal Exarch and Lena.
That is a fair point, Georgi. But I hate her.
We don't know how the trust.
That's not a
how
good
the
counter
development
argument.
cycle works.
But we don't know, because they've already said that when you're doing it with trusts the second time, you're not actually doing it with them. So
Yeah, you're
That's
doing it
true.
with crystals,
Yeah.
exarchs, whatever it was. The crystal images of them.
yeah. There's some manifestation or whatever. Yeah.
Can we talk about Thancred? Because I think when you talk
Yeah,
about
that's
Rain,
right.
you have to talk about Thancred.
Okay.
Okay, let's bring Thancred. What's his story going to be?
Will he stay on the first?
Oh no,
Will he choose to remain on the first? What do you mean? Oh no.
I can see why they
Yeah, 'cause
might
he-
push it that way.
What does
Because
he
he'd
have
look after
left
her,
on the
but
source?
Yeah.
He's sort of
The drowned wench, I guess.
Yeah.
Nothing really.
I don't think he cares that much about it. He's the person he cares about the most is Reen, and she's on the first.
That's a good point. But to lose Thancred after he started
won't
getting
lose
really
him.
cool.
We'll see. He'll still be on the first with Reen. So whenever we
Yeah.
go back to the first, we can talk to both of them.
Yeah, but how often are we going to go back to the first after
So
this expansion?
again, it depends on what happens to Reen, because he'll be where Reen is. I don't think he's gonna
Yes.
leave Reen. So if Reen dies, he goes back to the source, and he's gonna be depressed.
Yeah.
drunk.
I don't want Thancred to be
And then-
sad again.
I feel like that's just his eternal arc.
Yeah.
And then
That's why I don't want it again,
or
because
if
I
she
feel like
lives-
it's too repetitive.
Or if she lives, he'll stay on the first with her. He might bring her to the source too, though, to start a new
Yeah.
life with Reen there in a world that's not broken.
This leads me into the sort of theory that I've had for a while that I don't think is going to happen, but I think would be interesting. What if that the way that we wake up the Scions on the source allows the Scions that are on the first to keep existing as their own people, so they both exist as different entities?
But they made such a hoo-ha of they're no longer on the source and now they're on the first thing. It almost seems like they can't coexist. But if they could, then at least we can still enjoy the Thancred and not
The
have
problem-
to deal with Reen.
The only reason that I've been sort of considering this is the fact that we technically have two Grahas, so I'm wondering how does the difference between the sources, the shards, and also timelines impact the existence of two people in two places?
Yeah, I don't know.
If that happens, maybe they need to every couple of patches have like a special type of quest where we go and do something with one of them on the first to keep them relevant, which would be cool.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's kind of like just solving all the problems in a really
The idea, chat, that I sort of had is that their souls that are on the first, if the Scions were to wake up on the source, I think they would still have their memories of their adventures on the first, except from the point that they wake up, the two will be separate characters at that point.
Yeah, I mean that is
maybe.
it is possible. That would be very strange.
I think it'd be very confusing
Yeah.
if they went that route.
But they have gone out of their way to make the Scions on the first look very different to the Scions on the source. So there might be a reason for that. Like they made Thancred like baby 1.0 Thancred.
It's true that they don't have two bodies. Well, they don't have two souls is the issue. Technically, they do have two bodies.
They do, yeah.
Yeah, they still have a body on the source. That's not active.
Yeah.
Unless you're arguing that like their existence on the first is purely as a soul given physical form.
Wasn't there something to
He
do
does
with
say
that?
that though, doesn't he? It's not their actual
But
bodies.
That's why they can't go
That's
back.
why that's why they're so different.
Because you go there whole, whereas they go there just as the soul.
Yeah.
But
And you can't send them back.
That's true, but I find it hard to reconcile the idea that like they now have a body on the first technically that is just a soul.
It's weird because why were they so easy to get hurt and stuff if it's just a soul? But,
Yeah.
you know,
He did actually,
why-
he did say that that's what
he
it
did
is.
specify. Yeah.
Yeah. So they are
And why?
souls. Which is why it's so difficult to get them back.
It also gives me the question of like, what is the soul? Because like, why is
This is
Thancred still
deep.
unable? Yeah. Because why is Thancred still unable to utilize ether on the first?
Well, the
Is
soul's
the ability to utilize ether intrinsically associated with the soul rather than like the body?
I guess so. I guess the soul is your your
And the same with
ether crystal.
same with Y'shtola's sight.
Oh yeah, well,
I think.
yeah, she's still a blind soul.
Yeah, she's still a blind soul on the first.
So her body's blind, but it blinded her soul as well. God, that's it.
See, that's why I'm so confused. It's
I
like, what's the
think-
difference between the body and what's the difference between the soul?
I don't think we're supposed to ask these questions. I think they hoped that no one was going to ask this.
I wouldn't have asked these
Yeah.
questions if you made Y'shtola see on the first. If Y'shtola could see on the first, this would make so much more sense to me.
Yeah. The first live stream did not hurt. Yeah, what did the first live stream not hurt her? She went into the.
She did the classic dying again.
Mm-hmm. She did that. Emmett pulled her out. Would she be compatible? What are we on about? Would she be compatible to the first live stream? I don't know.
This is very nebulous.
we are nitpicking and we shouldn't be. Okay. What were we talking about? Oh yeah, Thancred. Okay.
And now we're on to Y'shtola's eyes.
Uh,
Although we could just move on to Y'shtola.
I think we're moving on to Y'shtola then.
Because she has a lot of
She has
Connections.
connections to the first. She's got a lot of loose ends she needs to tie.
Yeah.
She's basically got her own family.
Yeah.
That's true. The problem I have with this is that Y'shtola is too important to the marketing of the game for them to leave behind in the first.
And in a way, too important just to the story in general. She's one of the few that does stuff.
Mm-hmm.
All the Scions do stuff.
Oh, wait. I think Huvak is right. That Y'shtola and Thancred endured it because the souls were changed in a way on ethereal. Because they were
They
changed
were in the
because of the
live
live stream. So
But
their
then
souls
why-
are like literally.
Why did their
changed.
bodies also go into the live stream with them then?
Hmm.
Because they didn't leave behind a body and just their soul went in.
Yeah.
They came back naked.
They came back naked, but the body, I'm assuming the soul, okay. The soul contains the data of your body. So when it materialized on the first, it used the save data.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah,
in
yeah.
Thancred's case, it was like the 1.0 save, but still with the, the damage from the live stream. And that's why he came butt naked and with babyface. And Y'shtola, the same thing.
That's true. It was a teleportation spell, so I suppose.
Hmm.
But what a stupid spell then. Oh well.
Well,
I don't think they're supposed to use it. I think that's why
Why
people
not?
stopped using it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need a lore book. We need
another
We
a
need-
spell book.
Yeah, a spell book, please. Okay, so Y'shtola. She's ingrained herself pretty deeply into the community in the Raktika Great
She's
Wood.
the leader of the group of what are they called? Blessed
The
Knights?
blessed
The Knight's Blessed.
Knights blessed.
Knights Blessed.
This is where it also comes back to why I think that they'd be sort of inclined to have two versions of them, because they've made such strong connections on the first, yet they wouldn't want to leave them behind on the first for them not to continue in the story.
Right.
Yeah. But
There-
maybe they just have to leave them to get on with their lives. Maybe it's,
Yeah.
in a way, we're like Scions, but instead of making problems, we fix them.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, we'll go with that.
I think you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I feel like, well, I don't think any of these people of the Scions are gonna, well, except for Thancred, which I feel is a bit of a wild card.
Thancred has been there the longest. He has been there for 5 years.
Yeah.
God, yeah.
But the others are very important characters
Yes.
in the overall story, not just the Shadowbringer story, but in all of 14.
If Urianger had any connections to the first, I would be inclined to say they would be fine with leaving him there.
Yeah.
But he has no reason to stay there.
No.
Unlike Y'shtola and Thancred, they have given him nothing. They have given him no connections. He's not going to stay there because he's connected to the Fae.
No. That's true. Yeah. So I don't. I think. I don't think any of them, except for maybe Thancred, are going to stay there. So, but how are we going to get them back? That's the core question we're supposed to discuss here, instead of why Ystola's soul is blind.
Well, the question of how we're going to get them back is related to will they stay there?
Yeah. That's true. Will she bring Runar to the source?
I don't know if we can bring people from the first.
Right.
That's another question. Can we bring people from the first to the source?
Because Graha obviously can't. He tried.
No.
He could not
He's
go.
tied to the Crystal Tower.
Yeah.
But
he's either tied to the Crystal Tower or he simply just can't because there's already another Graha in our timeline.
Yeah, that might be why he couldn't go. Because he does say time to wake up or whatever. He does say that at the end of Shadowbringers when he tries to touch the portal.
That's why I sort of feel like Graha on our time in the source is going to wake up. Because why would they include that line of Graha, it's time to wake up?
Yeah. Yes, sorry, we're done with Graha. We have to stay on topic. Sorry. Yes. Moving on, Urianger, we mentioned him. He is not that attached to the world, I feel like. He's got the fairy stuff, but that's
not the fairy stuff, and he's attached to the Eden storyline, but I think he could use that research in the Eden storyline to benefit our shard, the source.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Urianger is the most likely to go back.
Yeah.
I think the twins are the most likely to go back, but I think Urianger is right there.
I don't know. Alizé has a lot of connections there, and Alphinaud with Eulmore.
I think Alizé is more connected to us, though, and her brother.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
They're not going to leave one of the twins behind on the first. If one of them goes, both of them will go.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think both of them will go. I don't see any reason to why they will stay there.
Yeah. And I'm sure Urianger is he can't wait to get back to the source to compare notes. Because there's a lot of because he's very obsessed with the elemental stuff, and we might have done stuff wrong. So I think that's going to be a future thing with him. Alphinaud and Alizé, obviously going to come back.
Yeah, there's no way
they're the closest thing to protagonists besides us.
Yeah. As to how we get them all back at all,
however many we get. The problem with not bringing them back is then we just have a Thancred and a Y'shtola corpse.
Well, yeah, we'll just
dark.
have to leave them on ice or something.
Because they're still alive, their bodies.
Yeah, their bodies are still living.
Yeah.
I think we have to keep feeding them?
No, I don't think they need food.
No.
Okay.
I don't think they've been feeding them while they've been unconscious. It's not like they have IV drips in Eorzea.
Yeah.
Well, no, but they probably
They don't have to wear a diaper.
No. I mean, you could say that, but I feel like it's not going to be detail that they're going to include.
But yeah, I think Graha on the source, if he wakes up, he'll just be able to do the same thing first Graha did, but the opposite direction. So in that sense, we could pull people like Runar to the source, but they'd just be the soul version.
Yeah, it'll be the same. Yeah, that makes sense.
And I've seen people saying in chat that the Graha on the Graha on the source doesn't know this. We have access to the Graha on the first. He can give us the information and we can tell him.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's true.
We can just say, "Yo,
he'll get a crash.
You're doing pretty great on this first right now."
Yeah.
And if we need to build stuff, the Graha on the first can tell us, and we can tell Sid.
Yeah, Sid, you'd have died, but again, you're pretty cool.
Yeah.
You'll have died. You never got married. You never had.
But
children.
You made best friends with Nero.
You had to leave Biggs to continue on the legacy of your company.
Yeah, you watched Wedge die.
That was sad.
Jesus Christ. You have a bright future ahead of you, Sid. No, actually, we stopped it. Or did we? We don't know. So enjoy that.
So maybe try and do everything you can to stop it. So listen to us now.
So part of me, and I've said this, kind of want to see the 8th Umbral Calamity, because we only got to see 2 or 3 stills. And then there's that shot, the scene in Ishgard with Biggs' son or grandson or great grandson.
Mega grandson.
I read a descendant of Biggs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's all.
Well, we sort of toyed with the idea of it being the theme of the 24 man, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yes.
And if that's the case, then we can have a look at it in some capacity.
Yeah.
Which would be kind of cool.
Mm-hmm. I would
just love to see it in some way, whether it's a dungeon, whether it's a 24 man. I want to be able to interact with that timeline.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is fascinating. Because it's so far in the future as well, so the technology that must have developed.
Sorry, that was just a weird detail. Oh, the technology! Imagine they might have cell phones.
No, I don't mean like that, but I mean...
Yeah.
If Garlemald has pushed so far, what will happen to Eulmore?
The most advanced thing we've seen is the vending machines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
You never know.
Everything else I can sort of believe with the technology we have on Eulmore right now. Everything else is just robot.
Yeah, that's true. Right. Anything else you want to say about this? There's... Well, do we have time?
What is the rest of
What? Go on.
What is the rest of Alizé's storyline?
We already have
for the
phones,
first.
Tome phones.
Because Alphinaud's connected to Eulmore, but what has Alizé got to do left on the first?
Yeah,
I feel like the Alizé storyline that's not concluded right now is the one with Garbu, and that's on the source.
Yeah, that's true.
Probably just talk to that little kid a bit.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, that's the storyline.
That mute that got Tesleen killed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate him.
We just hate him.
But yeah, she's pretty much wrapped up. Urianger's fairly wrapped up as well. The others have a bit to do.
Yeah.
Which I guess
Urianger's not wrapped up just because he's in Eden, but once that's wrapped up, then he can leave whenever he wants.
Yeah. Right. I guess with that we move on to MogMail.
Yeah, let's do it with MogMail.
Okay, MogMail it is.
Mostly because I want you to pronounce that first name.
Okay. Also, remember we aren't done with our discussion of what's next. We'll probably touch on this one more time before 5.1. But yeah, let's move on to MogMail. We have some MogMail to read. Here we go. Let's hope we don't... The audio. Okay, whoops. Well, that doesn't...
Wow.
There we go. The first one is from Erna Swiss Farid Erna Swiss Farid Sawin from Balmung. Hey speakers, welcome. Welcome back, Rollo.
Hey, Rollo.
Hey, Rollo. I'm glad you're back. Now to the meat. So last week you were talking about the possibility of an element of life and death. We know that the Moratines could create life, but they did not seem to think about death. Could it be like in alchemy, where you need to have an equivalent exchange, and thus they created more life than they exchanged for, and thus a calamity of death had to happen to balance the scales, as it were? Well, there was there was talk of death in the Emmett Selk story in Shadow, the Tales from the Shadows. So he sort of guided the dead.
Yeah.
Ish. Wasn't that what he?
You could see the souls. You could see the souls of that are in like the ether before everyone that exists all around us.
Yeah. There was like a thing in the at the end of that story where he's told to kill something, but the others couldn't kill it. Only Hades could.
Because he has the power to like guide souls to a certain extent.
Yes.
Which is I think we concluded was how he was able to pluck Y'shtola from the life stream.
Yes. Yeah, they did. They were very upset with creating life, but to me, it sounded like from what the conversation between Hades and Hythlodius, it sounded like killing something wasn't that big of a deal. It sounded like he said, "Just why don't you just kill it?"
Kill it.
So I don't know. I don't know how they've. well, they very clearly made a lot more than they killed, because they made a lot of shit.
Yeah, but the things they made had no souls, so
Yeah.
killing them was probably a lot easier
They
for
could
them.
no. They could make things with souls if they already existed. Like if they made a lion or something. They said they were able. The story mentions they can make things that exist with souls if they were things that someone like already existed within the world. But they couldn't make new things
Right,
with
that's how
soul.
it went. Yes, right. Yeah, I don't know. The whole calamity of death, life and death, is very interesting because that would add 2 additional elements that we don't have.
That's true.
That is one of the only good explanations for that to have happened, if it is a calamity of death, because there was too much
It may have been
life.
indeed where they got the whole concept from originally. Like, oh, we can tip the scales and cause these things to happen, and that's why they got the idea to make the calamities happen in the first place.
I see what this viewer is saying, but I feel as if the description of events is more of a calamity of life than a calamity of death. If we were to say that life and death are an element.
Yeah, right. Because there's too much of it. Therefore, the calamity is expected in that element. So, yeah, it would be a calamity of life. And which is what it was, because their nightmares manifested. So that's life being, manifested. Yeah, I think that's... We talked about this last week, the calamity of life. Yeah, I think we agree with
that. But then also they summoned a giant spaceship thing that was shooting lasers and blowing everything up. So in that way, there was also quite a lot of death.
The Cthulhu thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And looking down at the planet, there's loads and loads of explosions going on.
Yeah.
And burning.
Yeah.
But it could all just be, like, you could say it's the end result of a calamity of life, because ultimately calamities have to involve death.
Yeah.
That's true.
All calamities in the end involve death.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And it's because of the element, so in this case they die to life forms. So
Question. Do the Terminus creatures have souls?
Ooh,
there
part of
is
what
a big flash.
Crazy.
Isn't there like a big flash of light when we see the first creature spawn in front of us in the Amarot dungeon?
The slug?
Oh no! There's like no, we see the first boss, the one with all the mouths.
Yeah, the first boss, but that's because it creates a meteor. I think, like it does in the boss fight.
Does it just disappear after that? I can't remember what happened.
It does just vanish.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. I think it is a calamity of life or something like that. Because that's the whole theme of Amarot, is creating. They were basically like gods or demigods, if you like, which is very fitting considering name of Hades. Hades was a demigod.
Did they have gods?
No, he was a god. He was just a god. Sorry, what?
No, yeah, but we don't know much about the Amarotines' belief system. Did they believe? Well, we know they believed in Zodiac.
Mm-hmm.
What does?
Well, they did summon him though. I feel like they were probably quite atheist.
I think so too. Which is probably why the Garleans also don't believe in.
That's true, but like, where does the belief in Zodiac come from? If they were atheists.
They just
they made
had
it.
He saved their world.
They didn't believe,
and they just started revering him.
So they didn't believe in Zodiac at all before they made him to end the calamity.
I don't think. I think they just all wanted something that would save them.
Well, then that would imply that the Zodiac statue within Academia Oneida is completely fabricated from just Hades' memory, because otherwise it wouldn't be there.
Oh, yeah, that's a fair point.
Zodiac might have been like a symbol. We have symbol for things. They're not necessarily, gods. I don't know.
He's somewhat humanoid though, so maybe he's based on a concept of like a just really enlightened person.
Well, he looks like an elemental.
He also does look. Wow.
Well, the
yeah.
original elementals, anyways.
I don't know where it came from.
Dead air.
Dead air.
Oh yeah, sorry. Well, we were all thinking so deeply.
Yeah, I was thinking too. I couldn't be bothered to talk.
Wow.
We keep seeing La Habrea created them. La Habrea designed them to save them. I don't know. Is that?
But when?
Yeah. At
Yeah,
what
when?
point in the? I mean, obviously they needed something to think about while they summoned him. But did he predate? Like...
Why would they have this statue to him in the academia already before the calamities before the sound?
Before the sound came and before they summoned him. That doesn't make any sense.
No. I don't think
that lines up with the timeline that we've been presented in that case. Then again, Emmett might be lying.
Yeah, Emmett could just be imagining something as well.
Yeah, that's true.
It could be that thing that Hythlodeus mentioned where like the slightest distraction caused him to put it there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. Next MogMail is coming up. Thank you, Ernest.
Thank you, Ernest Swiss.
Ernest Swiss. Oh. Sorry, the others can't see that. Okay, here we go. This one's from Amazgar Ugand from Ultros.
Where did G come from?
Did I put a G in there?
Amazgar.
Oh, sorry. Amazar Ugand. Greetings, speakers. I'm a new fan, but I really enjoy the podcast and wanted to pick your collective brains over a theory I have. I've been thinking about Elidibus's plotting on the moon lately. Like a lot of people, I'm not terribly thrilled at the idea of redoing the Warriors of Darkness plotline from the 3.x patches with darkness scribbled out with crayon and replaced with light. It then occurred to me that Warriors of Light in this case may not be some generic group of adventurers he plucks from an unrelated shard, but people we know very well, the Scions themselves. They've left a lot of convenient soulless bodies lying around on the source, perfect for Elidibus to dump whoever he wants into them, while we're still fiddling around with getting them merged. If he gets a set of good enough actors, they could definitely make life difficult for us in a way that could be hard to retaliate against. Figuring out how to remove them from the host bodies could potentially help us solve how to get the actual Scions back in. It would also provide a sense of tension if we have to move back and forth between worlds, never know what's going wrong on the other one. I know the Scions aren't specifically branded as Warriors of Light, but maybe Elidibus is speaking in general terms, like how we're known collectively as the Warriors of Darkness on the first. Either way, I'd love to hear your thoughts.
I like this theory.
Yeah?
I don't necessarily know it would be Scion souls. It would be interesting if Ascians have the ability to pluck souls and place them into the bodies of other things, which seems to be the case to a certain extent. Maybe they could pluck the souls of people that are dead that meant a lot to us and then put them into bodies and force us to fight against them.
Yeah.
That is a cool theory.
Like the Warriors of Light could be like Horsefund.
Oh no.
What's her name? Munbrida.
Munbrida.
Yeah, Izel. Like they get a bunch of people from our past that meant a lot to us, and then we are forced to either kill them or because they don't necessarily those versions of the souls might not recognize us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they could look like them and act like them, but have an evil motive or whatever.
Yeah, Papalimo as well.
Papalimo.
Oh no, I'm joking.
Don't do that.
He's cool.
Yeah, that would make the thing Elidibus said make him seem less stupid.
Yeah, that would actually be a really good way of getting it.
That's a nice twist.
Because the difficulty wouldn't be us defeating them, because probably we could defeat them.
Yeah.
It'd be our desire to want to defeat them.
Yeah.
That would be a pretty interesting plot point.
Mm-hmm.
And it would you could have them if Louis Breeder was one.
Louis Swat could be their leader.
Yeah. Goodness. That'd be horrible. I don't want to fight Louis
That's
Swat.
That's the point.
No. Well, technically we already have, but we were.
Yeah, we already have.
But we didn't fight Grandpa Louis Swat. We fought a fucking primal. So yeah.
Remember this expansion was supposed to be dark.
It's true.
It wasn't as bad as it was sold, but so maybe all the darkness will occur in the patch cycle.
Yeah, that's possible. I didn't even think about that fact that these are like, they're just ripe for the taking. Okay, yeah. Interesting. Right. Do we have time for one more? I don't know if we do, but we should be able to fit one more. No,
I think we have time.
Well, remember, we have an announcement at the end as well.
Well, we do have an announcement. Okay, we can do that.
Okay, I guess we'll do that, or should we take number 10? I think we should do number 10 because that one's running out of. We don't have time.
Okay, let's do number 10.
I don't think that one's rendered, but I'm just gonna read it. Okay. It's Biscuitness. Hey speakers, as we dip into fall, do you think we'll see the return of scary games and other things like that? Been a viewer for just over a year now, and I think the current four of you have really great chemistry. But with that, it seems like you're...
Who's this four you're talking about?
Yeah, who's this fourth person? I don't know who that is. But that it seems like you're less interested in what your stream itself, which is narrowed to just routine Shadowbringer stuff, with a reluctance to show new things, including Shadowbringer's launch itself, Savage, etc., and hesitant to play other stuff. Anyways, I think you guys are fun regardless of what you play, but just seems like you're not having as much fun with the content you're streaming and seem more excited by the stuff you guys won't stream. I think you guys are great, but hope to see you guys feeling more comfortable shaking things up again. Playing more things here and there. I really enjoyed the scary games last year. Resident Evil 2 and Nier were fun. All the best, Biscuit. Well, we've already sort of made a few changes already since this email was sent. I think this one's getting pretty old now, but yes, we are going to do more scary games and stuff in fall, in autumn, in October, more specifically. So,
hey, maybe patrons can start suggesting some scary games for us to play in the new channel that we developed.
I think I'm gonna make a form though that they can just submit games to. So we will be doing that. That's it. I mean, I still enjoy streaming 14. It's just, I guess it is more routine, but now we're in like a drought, so there's not much to do, and we don't stream Savage because it doesn't work. So
yeah, it's just trying to figure out what we can stream that's new.
Yeah.
Like, I think we mentioned one time that we were considering streaming Palace of the Dead, and there are a couple of other things about, like, The Feast.
Yeah. The Feast.
But, like, well, the idea with The Feast was that, like, we would queue up, and then we would hope the viewers would queue up to fight against it.
Yeah.
But then they can screen snipe us.
Yes, there's that. There's the screen sniping problem. Yeah, so there's stuff like that we need we need a Eureka.
Yes.
A Eureka would be nice.
Listen to how excited he is.
We're definitely going to do a last run of Diadem before it dies. Because we've sort of had a tradition of doing that with the old Diadems. We did it with the first one. And we did the new one when it launched, right, the day after, just to, like, compare. And I feel like we should all gather as many people as possible to do Diadem one last time the day before or something. Well, it should be the day before. I don't know if I'll be
able to go into the new Diadem, though.
The new one?
Yeah, I don't know if I'll be able to.
The current
one? If I'll be able to do the current one.
Yeah.
But, like...
don't worry about the new one. We're not going to do the new one on stream because I'm assuming there's going to be some weird crafting stuff.
I think it'll be still interesting. It could still be interesting if there's still a certain exploration element to it. I think it would be interesting to see you guys try and...
We'll see.
I don't know. It'd be cool if it's like exclusive to crafters and gatherers, but there's still scary things you have to avoid.
Yes, yeah. Okay. Right, so minimum eye level tomorrow is still Copperville Mines Hard, but we will have Georgi. We'll have Rollo.
I'll definitely be there.
Yeah, we'll have Rollo there as well. So we'll be 4 people. So I'm assuming we're gonna clear it then.
I don't think we should spin the wheel.
No, we're not spinning the wheel.
No,
I just want to get that dungeon out of my system.
Yeah. And if Rollo somehow isn't here tomorrow, let's just do something else.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sick of failing on that last boss with 3 people.
Yeah. Right.
Maybe near. Well, no, because
yeah,
that's a
maybe
Wednesday
near.
thing, but maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, but I think most of the viewers that would be there on Wednesday would also be there tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's true.
All
We'll
right.
see. But I hope he's there.
We have an announcement to make.
Yeah.
Did we update?
I'm pregnant.
Did I update? Mela is with
what?
child.
Oh, yes.
We're expecting next week. So it's
Yeah.
Next week.
Yeah, we waited too
Why you
long.
can't see it.
Yeah.
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 8.5 months we waited for
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
Yeah, I went to Norway earlier this year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking in.
Good God. I just need to double
That
check.
broke the ice, so this isn't quite as shocking a announcement for everyone because it's a big announcement.
It is a pretty big announcement.
And I didn't want
It is a
everyone
pretty
to
big
be
announcement.
like worried or super shocked.
Yeah. Well, this is not something you should worry about. This is good. This is a good announcement.
Yeah.
This is good.
Okay. Are you all sitting down? Okay, good.
Yeah.
We are opening the doors for a 5th speaker. A 5th speaker. That's right. Here's the applause. That's 5th speaker.
It's really tepid at the start.
Okay, calm down, everyone. Okay, I know you're excited.
yeah.
Okay,
goodness me.
calm down. Okay, all right. Okay, sorry. Right, so there is a 5th speaker slot that we've created. Now, we should probably mention that this is not a regular speaker slot. In the sense that it is not necessarily it isn't a permanent host position. It is what would we call it? It's more of a backup
Fill-in host.
speaker, but also someone that will be present, who will be a full-blown speaker. It's kind of difficult to explain it.
Yeah.
It's sort of like someone who can step in when, for instance, Rollo isn't here. Just Rollo. During minimum eye levels, when there's, no one available, someone's
When we need a
unavailable.
4th person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's sort of an assistant speaker, maybe.
Yeah.
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 But you will still be a full speaker. You'll have access to all the stuff that we have access to. You'll get the show notes. You'll get all of that stuff. You're not below us in any way, other than the fact that you're not on the podcast regularly. That's the only catch.
But I mean, you could be on the podcast regularly. Depends.
Yeah.
We need a 5th speaker. Well, we need a fifth speaker because it would make it easier. We're very vulnerable, especially during minimum eye level, if a speaker is missing.
Yes.
So having someone that can step in would be.
There are certain things we can't do when we don't have a 4th speaker. Like we
Right.
can't do Gillionaire at all, really.
Right. Yeah. So there's that. We are opening that. We're open for applications now, right now, and this does not have a deadline. So we will be looking until we find someone. So it's different from last time.
So this could take a month or 5 years.
Yeah.
Depending on who we get.
So there's that. The requirements from before are still there from the old speaker search. I don't think there's anything new in there other than, of course, you have to have completed Shadowbringers.
Yes.
And you must have some sort of connection to this community. Well, that I think that was part of the old application thing as well. Because of how this works, applications are we will look through the applications as they come in. Like we will and try to respond as quickly as possible. I believe, I don't know if we have a time frame for it, but it shouldn't be longer than a week because I literally go straight to our desks when
Yes.
when an application is sent in. So
We'll probably review all the ones we receive in a week on the same day every week.
Yeah. And then interviews are then scheduled as we go. There's that. The requirements are the same as before. Like I said, you need to have a camera and at least a microphone that doesn't sound like cack.
Don't if you've got rusted equipment, for example.
Don't pick on him, Mailer.
Right. So that's very exciting. You can if you think
he's not even here.
No, that's true.
If you think
he'll watch it live.
If you think you're the one we're looking for, you can go to speakersxiv.com/new speaker to apply. The gates have opened. Right, we'll discuss this more on the post show a little bit if there's any need. But we are done with the main show, so thank you. So thank you for watching. Thank you for watching. Remember to follow us on Twitter at SpeakersXIV, twitch.tv/SpeakersXIV, and youtube.com/SpeakersXIV, exclamation Discord and chat if you want to join our Discord server. If you're watching on demand, link is in the description. We will see you next week if you're watching on demand, or tomorrow because it's minimum eye level live. Stay tuned for the post show. Bye.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.